But one of the things that have come up in recent times is this issue of constitutional amendment. A number of people have said, oh, while the constitutional amendment is ongoing, one of the things that should be at the forefront of this is state police, which I already made reference to. But some people are saying, look, let's ditch this constitution altogether, because every year we're amending, every 4 years we're amending. Let us have a brand new constitution. And at the forefront of this call is a group called the Patriot, made up of eminent statesmen and women of Nigeria who have lived and served a great deal in this country and outside the shores of it. Well, joining us this morning to take a look at some of the calls made by the Patriot is one of them. She is a very prominent voice from the South region of Nigeria, Annkio Briggs. She's also an environmentalist. Madam, thank you so much for staying with us this morning and for joining us all the way from Port Harcourt. How is Port Harcourt this morning? Is it cold? Is it wet? What is it like?
It's wet, it's cold, but I think it will get better during the day, we hope. But yesterday was really awful, and the day before, flooding and all of that in town. But we're coping.
Okay, that's good to know. I also want to believe that the political temperature, has it cooled somewhat? Because, before now, we know that politically speaking, there had been agitations, and, well, I guess they're still there. Maybe not as loudly as they were before now, but what is it like now, especially with the looking for the word now, the rules, the state of emergency is still in place?
Yes, and I think the state of emergency is the key word for us in River State, with all the controversy that surrounds how it came to be, why it came to be, how the governor is more or less the powers to govern the state that he was elected to govern, and how budgets are being flown over our heads for frivolous things that we don't need or that are being repeated, and where nobody is really accounting for our funds since almost 4 months now, where Rivers people have said over and over again that what we're going through because of the personality of the FCT minister, how he sees Rivers State today, and how the elected governor sees Rivers State, and what the people of Rivers State are going through. We're still, we're still not happy. But yes, we're watching to see how this all ends up by the 1st of October.
All right, the 1st of October is a date to watch then. Who knows, we might be surprised before that time, but it doesn't. I do not know if the truce that have been reached between the governor and the Minister of the FCT, now brokered by the president, has affected the political temperature in River State, has it?
Well, it has not, because quite honestly, what happened and what is still happening, it's very clearly between two Rivers people, the former governor and the present governor. And of course, the people of Rivers State who are at the receiving end of the former governor particularly, not wanting to see himself as a former governor, but rather wanting to see himself as someone who should be in control of the governance of Rivers State, as he claims, because he made somebody, in this case, the governor of Rivers State, Similaye Fora, the governor of Rivers State. But that's really weird, because no one person, not a single person, can make another person a governor of a state. If you say so, then you must accept that other people make you. I mean, Jonathan and his wife are very critical to the emergence of the former governor of Rivers State, and people like Dr. Peter Odili So if you say you made somebody, then you first of all have to accept that somebody made you, not to talk of the one who gives us breast to breathe. It's just ridiculous. And this is all part of the abuse of the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, which was written not in favor of Nigerians, and Nigerians did not have a say in it. And so people just do wake up in the morning and do what they like, irrespective of the consequences to the ordinary Nigerian who has done nothing to deserve what they're going through at this particular moment. Across Nigeria, mind you, not just in River State, but ours is worse.
Well, I'm glad that conversation is already, going to that area, because you are a member of the Patriot group that has been calling very, very quietly, aggressively, because they're not forceful about it, but they're not nonetheless pushful about what it is that they demand. They're not just speaking and then leaving the scene. They've been consistent in terms of, pushing this agenda for a brand new constitution. As some people will say, what exactly do we hope will happen with a brand new constitution that cannot happen with this current constitution?
In the nearly 3 decades that I personally have been involved in issues to do with justice and equity and truth-telling in Nigeria as a whole, and definitely on behalf of the Niger Delta zone and the people of River State, we tend to forget. Most Nigerians tend to forget and move on. When I say tend to forget, we need to remember that the Patriots, if we recall how the Patriots came about, the first chairman of the Patriots was the late Rotimi Williams, Chief Rotimi Williams, his son. Amongst him were people like General Ike Nwachukwu, people like Benoit Bweze, Professor Benoit Bweze, all late, David Dafinone, so many people, Asemota. These were the people that in different stages put this together. And the reason why they put it together almost 30 decades ago, 20-something years ago, it has still not been achieved. And it was at this point that myself and a few other people that were younger than them were brought in, not as their mates, if you like, but as their aides, when the then leaders were putting together the Patriots, and the reasons why they had to put the Patriots together. The 1999 Constitution, even before it was used, people like Sir Anthony Enahoro, whom I also worked with, had already started looking at the 1999 Constitution and had come up over a period of time. And the late Buhari himself was part of that process at that time, to put together a people's constitution, as opposed to this Constitution of 1999 that is constantly referred to as a military. In the Niger Delta, particularly, people like Toronto Douglas, Nemo Bassi, many other people, including myself, women, youth, looked at the 1999 Constitution when it first came out and came to several conclusions. One, it was anti-women. Two, it was anti-youths. And three, it was anti-Niger Delta, in the sense that we found ourselves going to the situation where, whether we liked it or not, the only resources that was going to develop Nigeria, even though Nigeria has so many other resources, i.e., we're coming to revenue sharing, which was then done, which is done by states, and then also by local government, of which our region still comes short, and representation was against us and all of that. So this is not, I mean, people are thinking that this is the first time that we're coming up, or Nigerians are requesting that this 1999 constitution is not favorable. And in my opinion, the people who are, if you like, arguing against the call for a new constitution are the people that the 1999 constitution favors politically. A lot of things need to be changed in the 1999 constitution. In 2014, where I was part of the people that were in the 2014 delegates of the 2014 constitution. At that time, by the time we finished with our jobs, it was very clear that if the government had gone along, we would have a new constitution. So if that is still what is on the ground, I see no reason why politicians are shying away from entertaining the idea that Nigerians are calling for a new constitution. It's our right to call for a new constitution, and not a constitution that is bandaged and plastered and year in, year out as amended. There is no part of the constitution you will quote that you will not now hear as amended. So we've been amending and amending, and we're saying, no, let's stop amending. Let Nigerians come together, because 1999 constitution, we the people did not write it. The military wrote this constitution and handed it over to the then former general, who is a colleague of the military, that wrote this this constitution. So I believe, along with my with the members and the leaders of the Patriots, that for Nigeria to move
was anti-women, anti-youths, and anti-Niger Delta. We've seen quite a number of moves to try and make it more pro-women. We've seen the National Assembly take some steps in that regard. We've seen the not too young to run law passed and the Constitution amended to effect that people, in their 20s to 30s can now run for public office, as a result of the amendments in the Constitution. The Niger Delta continues to remain a battle, but we found out that even at the conversation that the Patriots had, while the resolutions were being read by Mr. Ozekome again, it does appear that even amongst the Patriots, there were still certain bones of contention. Do you want to talk to us about it?
Well, the issue of, let's just say, resource control, for instance, because the question, I think, is based around the Niger Delta reaction, or the Niger Delta people's position. The issue of resource control seems to be a sore point for people who are not from the Niger Delta, and I can appreciate that. But you see, when we talk about resource control, it's not just about the fact that, we're saying resource control because we want everything to ourselves. Yes, we want everything, but we're not saying that we won't pay tax to federal government. So this has been a long-term argument and position for the Niger Delta. When it comes to the issue of the that make this point, that at no point they are writing a constitution for Nigeria. We're not. We've not given that impression. The leadership has not given that impression. There was even a debate for a while as to if we should even come up with the elaborate position that we exposed and shared with the public in terms of the resolution. But again, the resolution had to come out, if you like, because as we all know now, because the Patriots have said it, in the past month or so, zones, each zone, and any zone that says it didn't, I will be surprised. All the 6 zones in Nigeria, within and the states within them, at one time or the other, sat down in different capitals or areas of these states, of the federating states, and different ethnic nationalities within those states and peoples were able to voice their expectation of the 1999 Constitution. Some, like Obasanjo himself, are saying that it is about the people who are running the Constitution and not about the Constitution. I disagree, because if you have a bad Constitution, if you have an unfavorable Constitution, it doesn't matter who runs it. As passionate as I am, if I want to do anything and I'm stopped by the Constitution, then it means that for me to achieve that, I have to then push for the amendment, if you like, of that particular area of the Constitution to then allow me to achieve what I believe I want to achieve on behalf of my people or region or state or Nigeria. So the point, therefore, then becomes, look, let us have a new constitution where everybody is involved in this constitution. We talked about state police. People like Tambowa were involved. The spokesperson of the Middle Belt, Luca Bonia, youths were involved. Market women were there. The Patriots tried as much as they can to carry, I don't use that word, for everybody to be involved. Now, that's not the end of it. What we're saying is that what we have gathered in the past 2 days is going to go to the president. If you recall, some months before now, the Patriots had gone to visit with the president, and I was humbly amongst the people that were there. And our leadership made the presentation. And the president did not push us aside and say, you know what, I'm not interested. That's not what he said. He said, right now, I'm interested in the economy. But you are free to come back to me and we can discuss this further. And I'm expecting that at that point, we will be able to bring another guideline or guidelines, if you like, to him about really what we should do to achieve this new constitution. A constitution is about a people agreeing on how they're going to live together. Nigeria, unfortunately, has not agreed since the days of the British on how we are going to live together. And that has always been our problem, the albatross that we carry. How are we going to live together? How do we feel that everybody has justice and equity and not just one section of Nigeria, be it the South or be it the North? Why is it? And people have said to my hearing that, oh, this is about Southern Nigeria. No, very, very far from it. Yetima Sherima was there. Ahmed was there. I heard what he said. Arewa was invited. The Northern Elders Forum were invited. The Yorubas were invited. The INC was invited. Ohanese was invited. The Middle Belt was. So we can't really accept when people say that other people were not involved. As much as possible, a lot of people were involved. And this is just the beginning. The president will have to, we're suggesting that he should now take this to the National Assembly. National Assembly is not going to write a constitution for Nigerians, but the National Assembly can make changes to the constitution based on what the people they're representing have requested. from them. And so, if we are guided by these genuine principles of equity and justice, then I think Nigeria has a chance. But when some of us keep resisting what some of us believe is the best way forward, then we're just going to be stagnant in Nigeria and remain indebted financially, and remain a country that is abusing and misusing the funds that they should use to develop Nigeria.
Perhaps
it's
one
a
of
shame
the challenges,
that,
madam, if you
with
can
all
hear
the
me,
wealth that is coming
my
from oil
apologies
and
for
gas,
butting in.
that Nigeria.
My sincere apologies for butting in. Perhaps one of the challenges that some people are having in the resistance that you talked about is because maybe they do not understand, or maybe they don't have enough persuasion to believe that we need a completely different constitution. You said the other time that you don't agree with those who say that the mindset of the Nigerian is what needs to change before a new constitution would make any difference. Mr. Fashola said as much about 2 years ago. But one of the challenges we've had in this country over time, madam, is the implementation of any law or policy or initiative of government, federal, state, or local. So, and it's the same thing it happens as far as this constitution is concerned. One of the things, for instance, that the constitution says is that, in fact, the number one function of local governments, that they need to sit with the state governments to talk about the economic development of their areas. I don't know if that kind of thing ever happens. So let's talk about the implementation. How will the new constitution be implemented different from the old one, the 1999 current constitution that we have, when we have exactly the same set of people who are going to be executing it?
Absolutely. I agree with you there. It's lack of political will. And that is why someone like me, I'm known to say, I'm not a politician. I choose not to be a politician, but hey, I'm interested in what politicians, the people who claim to be our politicians, I am interested in what they are doing in my name. If you look at very quickly what has happened to us in Rivers State, that actually strikes the point for me that politicians in my state have gotten it wrong. What they are doing in my name is not acceptable. It has not taken the state forward. It's the same with the country Nigeria. It's the same with the National Assembly. It's the same with the people who are representing us. Now, if we say that if the same set of people, and we do actually say that the same set of people, if they are the people that are going to run the new constitution, we will be able to caution ourselves, having that in mind as what will be a problem, to make sure then that when we have a new constitution, within that new constitution, we will be able to hold them accountable because they've sworn to that constitution. We will write into it that anything you do outside, and I'm not talking as a patriot now, I'm talking as a Nigerian, I'm talking as a Rivers State daughter, I'm talking as someone who is from my ethnic nationality. Now, if you fail to do, whether you are Ijo representing me, whether you are a governor representing me, if you fail to do the things that you're supposed to do for me according to the Constitution, then you will be held responsible. Now, what responsibility we will hold you accountable for will also be in the Constitution, because then we will resist you. We will remove you. But right now, the way Nigeria is governed and the caliber of people that are holding our powers are misusing those powers, and they are getting away with it. Okay. The key thing here is that you and I and all Nigerians who are not politicians must not allow them to get away with what they are doing.
I guess that also
that
says,
is not
madam,
in our interest.
I guess that also says that there has to be certain soft infrastructure built around the new constitution being proposed to ensure that what you're saying actually holds ground. But let me touch ground on something that I think is a little touchy. There are certain parts of this country that if you are not an indigene of that tribe, you don't have any hold. There are people who have said that in certain parts of the Southeast, for instance, you can't own anything, any property, if you are not from that particular state or particular environment. Even if you are from the same region, you don't have that authority. And that kind of thing has been said about different parts of the nation all over the place. That's why you hear something like, okay, you people should go back to your town, that you people should go back to your town and that. I don't know if there is any way we can legislate that, because from what I know, any Nigerian is at liberty to own anything in any part of the country. But it doesn't seem to be the same thing in certain environments. That cannot be legislated, can it?
Of course it can, because why I say so is this. You've already laid it out there. And these are the issues. The reason why, in my experience and opinion, that people feel this way is because they feel that they have been overtaken, if you like, in their own state, in their own environment, and yet they pay a price for this, because this 1999 Constitution that was written more or less by the military, some people call it Decree 24, and these things that were imported into the Constitution are against the people of that state. Now, if when we sit down to discuss the Constitution of Nigeria, different people from different places will raise issues that are in their interest. Don't expect me to raise issues that is in the interest of somebody else and leave my own interest. Let the other person raise his or her interest, and that's why we all must sit down. And then some assurances will have to come to allay the fears of the people who, for instance, say you cannot have or own a property full lease or forever, or maybe hand it over if you're not an indigene of that state or of that region or of that local government areas. There are reasons why these sentiments are there. It is then up to us who feel this sentiment, anybody who feels this sentiment, to then find a solution. And this is where, in my opinion, politicians come in.
Okay.
If we are truly talking about one Nigeria, and then say, no, those fears you have should not be there. And therefore, this and this is what we're going to put in the Constitution, so that those concerns you have are not going to be concerns. Genuinely, some of those concerns are right.
Absolutely.
When it comes, yes, some of those concerns are right.
Yeah. And it's not just gonna, again, you talked about it being legislated. Again, the question will be the implementation strategy around it. There are so many other questions to ask you, madam. For instance, will a new constitution be amendable and all that? We'll come to that some other time. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Annkio Briggs is a human rights activist and an environmentalist. We appreciate your time this morning and your perspectives.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome.